Okay, Derbyites, welcome back to our viewing panels once again. This time we're talking about the lead actress race in the movie miniseries categories. The six nominees, we have Helena Bonham Carter for Burton and Taylor. We have Minnie Driver for Return to Zero. Kristen Wiig for The Spoils of Babylon. We have Cicely Tyson for The Trip to Bountiful. And we have two American Horror Story Coven actresses, Jessica Lange and Sarah Paulson. Riley, what are your six? What's your order?
Well, I've got Cicely Tyson at the top, then I have Jessica Lange, who has won the supporting category before for this show, although not this specific performance. I've got Helena Bonham Carter, then Minnie Driver, Sarah Paulson, and Kristen Wiig, the surprise nomination in last.
Yeah, very, very big surprise nomination. And then Daniel, what's your order?
Very similar order for me. I've got Cicely Tyson in first, followed by Jessica Lange, Helena Bonham Carter in third, Minnie Driver, Sarah Paulson in fourth, Minnie Driver in fifth, and Kristen Wiig also in sixth.
And then I have Cicely Tyson in first, and then I have nobody in second through sixth, because this is going to be Cicely Tyson. No, my real order is Cicely Tyson, and then Jessica Lange, then Sarah Paulson, Kristen Wiig in fourth, Minnie Driver in fifth, Helena Bonham Carter in sixth. So I'm curious about this Kristen Wiig nomination. Daniel, what do you make of this? Because it did kind of come out of nowhere.
It did come out of nowhere. It's sort of fitting because The Spoils of Babylon is a parody of epic TV miniseries, so it's sort of fitting that they would actually nominate it. But I don't think they watched it. I think this was a case of voters saw a list of people they liked, and they saw they had a space to fill maybe on their ballots, and they filled it with a name they recognized and that they liked, and that they knew was probably going to be a change of pace, and they went with Kristen Wiig. I don't think they nominated her because they watched it, although I do think it's a deserving performance. It does not seem they didn't want it.
And it was a mini-series on IFC. Talk about a great year for IFC with that, and with Portlandia getting in there as well. For Fred Armisen and for Steve Buscemi, and then it got writing and directing for a variety show too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I think you're right. They just love Kristen Wiig. I think I had her winning last year for Saturday Night for hosting Saturday Night Live, but she lost to Melissa Leo. She's actually lost a lot. She lost when she was a host. She lost when she was a star on Saturday Night Live. So, in other words, they like her, they just don't love her. But yeah,
maybe people haven't seen The Spoils of Babylon so far, but it was just like 6 20-minute episodes, so they can whip through it in no time if they wanted to.
Yeah, right. It's a very good binge show. It's very easy to watch. I think I watched it over the course of 2 days, and even then I was taking my time. And you know what? It's the kind of performance, if they haven't seen it and they nominated her anyway, and they watch it when they review the nominees, if they watch it, I think that's the kind of thing that might surprise people. It's a big, broad, funny performance. She's playing this over-the-top diva who owns this oil company. She commits murder. She's in love with her stepbrother. It's juicy, but also funny, and I don't think that's going to be enough, but I can see some people being surprised by her on that judging panel.
And I mean, funny people rarely get nominated in these mini movie series categories. It's almost always drama. I mean, looking at this category in particular, Laura Linney won last year for Dying of Cancer. Julianne Moore won the year before that for playing Sarah Palin, and then there was Kate Winslet for Mildred Pierce, Claire Danes for Temple Grandin, Jessica Lange for Grey Gardens, Laura Linney again for John Adams, Helen Mirren for The Prime Suspect. So these are all like really, really well-known actresses for their drama work. So if Kristen Wiig wins this, it will be probably one of the biggest shocks in Emmy history. But she's not going to win.
Was there a dramatic role?
Yeah, that was I loved that performance. She was so great, but I don't think she was as good as Tina Fey. So let's talk about maybe Minnie Driver for Return to Zero. This was another Lifetime movie. We talked about maybe a Lifetime bias in another Slugfest because Lifetime ladies get nominated a lot. The movies and miniseries get nominated every once in a while, but it's very rare for someone on a Lifetime show to actually win an Emmy. And I don't know if that's because their movies aren't taken as seriously as maybe something on HBO or Showtime or even on a regular network. But I mean, at Gold Derby, Return to Zero has a ton of fans, a lot of passionate support. Yeah, and if let's just pretend that the viewing panel, the Emmy judging panel, has just a minuscule amount of those passionate supporters, she could win. I mean, she's playing a character who her baby died inside of her, and it's a true story as well. What do you guys think of Minnie Driver's chances here?
Well, it was definitely a name check nomination. This is not the first time that Minnie Driver's been the only nominee, like including all the technical categories for a show that she's been on. It also happened with The Riches. You say that maybe people don't take Lifetime as seriously. I think they totally don't take Lifetime as seriously. Like Lifetime Movie of the Week is a punchline in itself. But yeah, it does sound like she has powerful material. So gotta watch out for those upsets like Laura Linney.
So, but we should remember Cicely Tyson is a Lifetime movie, Trip to Bountiful, and she's the overwhelming favorite. So let's switch gears now to Cicely Tyson. This is a role it won an Oscar when someone else played it, and when Cicely Tyson played it on Broadway, it won a Tony. So this role could win. This role is close to getting an EGOT here if Cicely Tyson wins the Emmy. Daniel, you have her in first place. Do you think she's got this locked up?
I don't think it's 100% a lock. I think it's a solid bet. She won the Tony on Broadway. The thing that worries me, though, is that even though it seems like she should be really strongly out front, this reminds me a little bit of Felicia Rashad with Raisin in the Sun, where she was coming off of the Tony win on Broadway for the stage production. The same cast comes together for the movie on ABC, which was a big hit. She seemed like the front runner. She'd never even won an Emmy before, so she was overdue. And then Laura Linney happened. So I'm worried that, there's always the potential for that kind of an upset. The thing that's working for Cicely Tyson is that there is no huge sweeping entity like John Adams in her way in this category. I mean, even American Horror Story Coven was popular; it got 17 nominations, but no previous American Horror Story miniseries has won more than 2 in a year. So it's not the kind of thing that's going to sweep through and get everyone awards. So I do think that helps Cicely Tyson avoid that kind of an upset, but I would not count out someone like Jessica Lange, who won at Critics' Choice, but I think that might be the only 2 people who are really, really strong in this.
And Riley, what are your thoughts on Cicely Tyson versus Jessica Lange?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised that Jessica Lange won the Critics' Choice Award. I guess, in hindsight, she hadn't won an award from them before. Maybe that had something to do with it, since they are aware of their history. They're not just, looking at tapes, voting based on them. I think helping Cicely Tyson is, with these Lifetime movies, often we see, someone like Minnie Driver or Ellen Burstyn, they're the only nominee from their movie, whereas Cicely Tyson, she actually managed to get her movie nominated as well. So voters, they did respond to this material. I don't know. What you said before about how she won a Tony and all that stuff, that's good too. Jessica Lange, she's very powerful, especially in those early installments, though.
I think Jessica Lange has a really good shot here. The first episode, if I remember correctly, the first episode, it's like her in the doctor's office talking about getting old. She's worried about aging. She's trying to find a way to stay young, and last year Asylum was really, really dark. I think maybe that was some of the reasons that it didn't win as many awards as people were predicting, especially for Sarah Paulson. This year, Coven, it was more campy, it was more funny, it was more over the top in some ways, and the Emmys love over the top things. People always win for giving over the top performances. Look at Eric Stonestreet; he won twice for playing a clown on Modern Family. But But I think if someone from Coven in this category will win, it will be Lang instead of Paulson. Paulson was more of a supporting person this year, but I'm glad she got. I'm glad she tried her luck with the lead actress category. I'm glad she got nominated there. Some people thought she should have gone lead last year for Asylum, but anyway, she got nominated 2 years in a row. So whatever she's doing, it's working out. I just don't think I don't think Paulson can win this year. There is a storyline with her character in Coven where she gets blinded, and she's wearing these really creepy contact lenses. And when I talked to Sarah Paulson, she said that she actually was wearing those on the set too. So she was like walking around pretending to be blind just to get used to it. And the only thing I can think of if it was between these three, between Cicely Tyson, Jessica Lange, and Sarah Paulson, I feel like Cicely Tyson has, oddly enough, she has more buzz than the other two. Even though she lost the Critics' Choice, people seem to be talking about her character, her chances of winning more than the other two.
Yeah, Sarah Paulson's interesting. I mean, she really was a supporting performance up until the finale. And if voters are watching the episodes, they just watch the first couple, let's say, and then they won't see Sarah Paulson do much of anything. Maybe they'll see her be blinded, and then she has even less to do.
Yeah.
I thought that at first it was a mistake that she was going lead because, obviously she's a supporting performance. But then, I looked at the supporting category, and you've got, Kathy Bates, Julia Roberts, Ellen Burstyn, Ansel Bassett, and then in the lead category, you have, it's so shallow that Kristen Wiig is actually getting in. So it turned out to be a great decision strategically to get her a nomination. And she has been nominated for American Horror Story before and Game Change the year before. So at this point, she's turning into an Emmy favorite. But yeah, not going to win here.
Mm-hmm. And then the last one we haven't talked about, Daniel, do you want to mention Helena Bonham Carter's chances here for Burton and Taylor?
Yeah, it's the kind of role that I think if the film had been more widely accepted, we'd be talking about her as a more serious contender. She's been all over the place for this performance. She was nominated for Golden Globes, SAG Awards, BAFTA, the Critics' Choice Award. She has really run the gamut for it. And she's playing Elizabeth Taylor. She's playing a recognizable celebrity, which could help or hurt her because I don't think she looks or sounds all that much like Elizabeth Taylor. So if voters hold that against her, but she's still embodying this important Hollywood figure. But I thought Burton and Taylor would do better overall. I thought it would get into Best TV Movie. I thought it might be nominated somewhere else besides just her. So it really seems like she's the beneficiary of, as Riley was saying, this being a relatively shallow field, and her name recognition in combination with the subject matter and the fact that the performance, the film, was actually fairly acclaimed. I think that really just helped her get in. The category was shallower enough for her to make it through.
All right. If I was a voter, I would give it to Sarah Paulson because the Emmys kind of messed up last year. I think you know that. I think she deserved it for Asylum, and giving it to Ellen Burstyn last year was a little bit of a slap in the face to Sarah Paulson. So Sarah, we are rooting for you here at Gold Derby. Good luck at the Emmys. So coming up next, we're going to do Best TV Movie and then Best TV Miniseries.